Lead Girl, the BWEL podcast is your dedicated platform for amplifying the voices of Black women in various roles, whether you're a teacher, school leader, higher educational professional, or educational consultant.
Join us as we honor the stories of remarkable Black women and share insights from our distinctive journeys in education and life.
Tune in as we explore the topics that resonate with us as women, as members of the Black community, and champions in education.
So let's dive in together, show up for ourselves, and serve up joy as the leaders our school communities truly deserve.
Welcome to Lead Girl, the BWEL podcast, where we amplify the voices of Black women in educational leadership.
We are your hosts, Trelane
and Jocelyn.
Good afternoon, Jocelyn. How are you?
I am doing well. Looking forward to our episode today.
Wonderful. Well, we have a special guest with us today on Lead Girl, the BWEL podcast. Her name is Dr. Shonda Harris-Muhammed. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit about her. Dr. Shonda Harris-Muhammed, with over 30 years in public education, currently serves as coordinator of testing and pupil personnel in Southampton County Schools. A Norfolk State University graduate in mathematics, she holds a doctorate and master's from Walden University. Dr. Shonda is a Richmond School Board member for the 6th District and former chairwoman. She's a charter member of BWEL, advocating for Black women in educational leadership, and an ambassador for WEL, Women Education Leaders in Virginia, promoting women's equity in leadership roles in Virginia. Additionally, she's an Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority member. Through her nonprofit, Northside Coalition for Children, she has provided free school supplies for students since 2008. Dr. Shonda co-authored The Unvoiced Pain, Releasing Depression and Anxiety, with 8 other women who, through life, have fought depression, anxiety, and other forms of trauma. Living her best life in Dr. Shonda style, she resides in North Richmond with her college sweetheart, Demetrius. They have 2 children and have been together for 30 years. Welcome, Dr. Shonda.
Hey, ladies. Hey, women who lead. How are you? Happy Sunday.
Doing wonderful.
Yes. Oh, man, 30 years. That's a blessing.
Yes, it is. And you sit and wonder. Okay. Whenever I hear that number, it's actually 33. However,
wow.
When I hear that number, I'm like, okay, so what made me stay in education? What's wrong with that? Okay, so yeah.
I'm sure not a thing. I'm sure not a thing is wrong with it. But now that we've heard a little bit about you in your bio, just kind of tell us where you are currently and how you're leading.
Oh, wow. Where I am currently. Well, professional wise, as you read in my bio, I am the division director of testing for Southampton County Public Schools, as well as the coordinator of pupil personnel. And so if anyone in public education knows anything about testing, probably 85% of our instructional time deals with testing, right, Principal Clark? So it's so much, right? It's so much testing in public education that it really takes away from the creativity that our teachers hold and the gifts that they hold within that creativity. And our students miss out a lot. And pupil personnel is a whole dynamic within itself. I oversee school counselors, school nurses. I work with our alternative education program. And I also serve as our McKinney-Vento liaison for the division for our state and the Commonwealth of Virginia, which is a program that services our homeless students. And I am one of those people that do not like the word homeless or that identifier. So I have encouraged my colleagues to use McKinney-Vento and have trained everyone in my division on what that is, what that means, and what we should do to support those families and those students that are in that program. Personally, I continue to be in love with my boyfriend every day of 31 years. And yes, we still date. And we have 2 awesome children. Anthony, also known as Tony and Baby Boo. Her real name is Khadijah, but sometimes we forget because we call her Baby Boo every day. Like that's on her birth certificate. And so also what I'm currently doing is I'm in public office. I'm one of those Black women who lead, who have a voice in her community for those who do not know how to use their voice. I'm an advocate for teachers. I'm an advocate for school custodians, school nurses, what we identify in public education as classified staff. And I'm also an advocate for students. And so sometimes I don't always side with the status quo. That's like 100% of the time. And so I'm one of those Black women who are probably identified with some people in the community as the one that does not side with everything that is supposed to be a yes. And that's me. And so I do challenge the status quo. I do ask a lot of questions and I want answers. I expect answers. And so when people do not have that voice, everyone has a voice. Let me back up. Everyone has a voice, but not everyone knows the process, right, of trying to obtain clarity for their children. Even as teachers, they don't know the advocacy that they have within themselves. Principals sometimes don't know the advocacy that they have within themselves. And so it is very important to me that I am a support mechanism for those individuals who do not always feel supported, particularly Black women.
So you kind of shared a little bit of this, but can you describe your journey into leadership and like, what was your why behind it all?
My why is because I was one of those children who grew up in a very traumatic household, a child who witnessed domestic violence, a child who grew into a teenager, who grew into a young adult, who had a beautiful baby boy going into college. And, my why is about young people. My why is helping people, helping our students who have gone through what I've gone through. And it's like I can just pick. When I am tuned into children, I can really discern what they're going through. And that's my why. My why are young people. My journey consisted of a little bit what I just shared. And my grandparents played a pivotal role in my life that helped raise me. And for a long time had custody of me because of some traumatic experiences that I endured in my life. And through that, I began to find my voice. And through that, I began to learn how to pray over myself and empower myself. And so through that, I decided at some point, I guess, that I wanted to be a teacher. Now, I really wanted to go into the military. I wanted to be a 6-star general, but I didn't realize that there was no 6 stars in the Army. And so I was like, I'm going to be a 6-star general. And my papa said, okay, you can go do that. Right. So I'm like, I'm going to be a 6-star general. I just kept saying that. I'm going to be in the Army and a 6-star general. But I took the ASVAB 3 times and failed it all 3 times. And I remember my papa saying to me at the dinner table, he said, babe, I think you need to do something else. It's your 3rd time. You done failed it. And I was a math major. So how could I not pass the math portion of the ASVAB? Like, what's that about? And so I began to just think about and reflect, okay, I guess the military is not for me. I will finish Norfolk State University with my math degree, and I will go on and do something great with that. And Matt, woman of color on the campus, Dr. Willie Mae Beeman, Dr. Willie Mae Beeman. And she said, you just need to go teach somebody like you. I was like, well, what does that mean? I don't mean, what do you mean? Like me? What do you like? Did I give you, was I that one for you? And I was that one for her. And so I ended up being a teacher. And 30 plus years later, that's what I've just continued to remain in public education and work with families and students and continue to move up the ladder, if you will, as often people say, the C-suite. I had a Black woman say to me when I was a math teacher, she said, you need to go get your master's so you can be an assistant principal. I said, I don't even like big people like that. I don't even want to, I don't like adults. I really don't. I'd rather just deal with the children because y'all just crazy. And so she said, no, you really need to be an advocate for teachers because you're always advocating for your colleagues. And so a year later, I went and obtained my master's. And then after I got that, another Black woman said, oh my gosh, you need to start applying for assistant principal positions. And I'm like, no, because my mouth is still raw and I don't like adults. So I don't know about that. So, I started to participate in interview panels just to see what the questions were. And then, I discovered, ladies, that the interview questions were not equitable. Like, why are you asking me questions as a Black woman? Do I have a family? Why is that important to you? And are you legally supposed to ask that question? Like, right. No, you're not. So why are you asking me if I have a family, right? And so then I began to just say to myself, this is not quite right. And then I literally had completed an interview to be an assistant principal. And one of the panelists called me and he said, you were great today. Your interview was fabulous. You hit all the right bullets. Everybody was so, just so inspired by you. And, we really, really would love to have you. But some of us just felt like you were too attractive. That's new. I'm too attractive to be an assistant principal. Now, why I be golly day, what was that about? And I just was on the phone like, so the red lipstick did it for you? Oh, did you have a red lipstick? No, I didn't. But I was just, I thought maybe you all just were imagining I had on red lipstick. Not that there's anything wrong with red lipstick, but I was taken back that someone would actually feel comfortable enough to say to me that some of us felt like you were too attractive enough to be an assistant principal. So what do they look like? Was my question. I said, so what do they look like? What do you prefer that they look like? Because how I woke up this morning is how I'm going to go to sleep in all my glory, right? And so the more I encountered those discriminatory practices, the more I began to fight against those discriminatory practices. And amplifying the voices of a Black woman in leadership is truly, it truly takes courage. And it takes a lot of high self-esteem, and you have to walk in your comfortability. And so that's a part of my journey, that whenever I desired to be in a different position, I was always met with a barrier. I was always met with why I should not, instead of what I could do in the role. So I had to learn very quickly, after a lot of throwing stuff and cursing in the car and threatening to sue and all this stuff. I had to learn very quickly how to strategically use my voice for myself and other Black women along this journey.
Wow. I'm a little speechless about many things that you just said. I was going to ask about challenges, but you've kind of given us a couple little tidbits there.
Too attractive to answer.
Wow, there's so many layers to the stuff that you just mentioned. And the scary part, I think about many of what you said. You're not alone. You're not alone, right?
Absolutely.
You're not alone in having had similar experiences or even hairline versions of those experiences. And so, that is that is a lot to unpack. But you know, even further, if you could sort of talk a little bit about how race and gender kind of play out, socioeconomic status, even educational status, right? You know, you've obtained your doctorate degree, and so how do you see that playing out in your day to day, if you do?
Well, obtaining my doctorate degree, I'm gonna start there, is because for many Black women who aspire to be in the C-suite, assistant superintendent, it is almost required for us to have a leg up. It is almost required for us to obtain an advanced degree, such as a doctorate. And so for me, it was something that my grandparents never obtained. They had a elementary education, but they valued education. And being the first in my family to graduate from college, let alone obtain a master's and a doctorate, was a heavy burden to bear, because I also had to face, well, you think you're better, and why do you think you need to go to this? And it costs so much money, and you're not thinking about your family. And I used to say, well, I am thinking about my family. I'm thinking about my Black daughter, thinking about my Black son. I want them to know that they can do whatever they want to do. I'm not setting the precedent that they must obtain a doctorate, but I am setting the precedent of expectations, of excellence, of walking in your greatness. That is what I'm setting. And so I began to stop apologizing and explaining why I thought I deserved better, right, for myself. And so when I stopped making excuses and stop apologizing, so it was very simple, because I wanted it, right? Mm-hmm. I desired it. And so as a Black woman, how does race play in the C-suite and in educational leadership? It plays a huge role. And it also creates a hole for us, because we are expected to know more, do more for less dollars, right? And so we're not going to get into the inequity of pay. Well, we could, because that is also a factor for Black women. Even when you put us against or next to Asian women, Caucasian women, Hispanic, Latino, X women, we are still underpaid in our roles of leadership, right? And so we are expected to play chess with the rules that white men created by white men, for white men, as a Black woman. And until we change the narrative of how we lead, and that is work through Black feminism. And because that is a real thing. It is how we see ourselves. It is how we walk into the door. It is which exit we choose to leave, which is on our terms. And that we are not creating a platform for other people that don't look like us to navigate, and we're not on the train with you. As Black women, we have to control our own narrative. And a part of Black feminism theory is that Black women must identify their weaknesses when it comes to supporting other Black women in leadership. And that's a part of amplifying your voice. It's like we could be so much further in this work if we knew as Black women how to support each other. And that comes with role conflict. Like, what is it within you that speaks in Black feminism theory that you cannot address in supporting another Black woman? All of these play against us as a Black woman in leadership. It is very important that we understand what is happening to us. And then once we understand what's happening to us, and some of us who look like us create that. Mm-hmm. And when we identify it, then we're able to address the discriminatory interviews and discriminatory practices, the inequity in pay. It takes a collaborative effort, But whenever we need something pushed for us, our Black female agenda, we have to go seek other genders to do that for us. We're our own powerful creation. And we should be able to make change legislatively, locally, or nationally, because we have the tools and resources to do so.
Woo! You just went to church, huh?
I laid it on you thick, didn't I?
You sure did. Yes. and with that, so like, I know that just general and going through before I even, I guess, heard of different organizations to join and support me as a leader, I kind of felt like a lot of times we're always, I'm speaking of Black women, competing with each other or not supportive or like not even just walking by each other, not even addressing or speaking. It's like, but we have formative opinions. And so like, even to the degree where I walk past them, I make sure I speak and I acknowledge someone I'm walking by. But it became such a norm just to walk with your head down or just try to avoid just even an encounter like that. And so with this question, it's like, well, who is in your community of support, like your tribe, that really can help you like through personal and professional support when you're going through these things that kind of can enable you to do the work every day? And like, who is that for you?
For me, of course, I mentioned him earlier as my boyfriend, my husband, my best friend. He is a part of my tribe, right? He is that one guy that is like, listen, you are going out here representing me. And we joke about that a little bit, but really I am. I'm his wife. I'm his lady. I'm his girl. So he's one of my biggest fans. My children is a part of my tribe. My daughter and I have honest and courageous conversations all the time about, mommy, you're doing the most right now. Or mommy, you're not doing enough right now. Or mommy, you're inspiring so many women. My son and I have conversations. And so with my professional tribe are my mentors. I am intentional about using iMessages. I knew what I needed, but I needed to learn how to articulate what I needed. And so I found women who were, particularly Black women, who were not just going to co-sign on what I wanted, but also were going to dedicate themselves to be a part of my professional growth, right? And in that, a mentor, an effective mentor, a mentor that's really about you, is just not there to talk professional. They're also there to remind you of your personal responsibility to your family, right? And so I think about the women that are in my tribe and the closest ones to me, the closest ones that can get to me, that are so dear to my soul and skin, are women who are married, who are women who have children, right? And the reason why that's intentional is because when I'm going through something with my boyfriend, I want to be able to call my mentor who has been married or is married, and let's be thought partners, right? Is it me? Do I need to go ahead and put the suitcase at the front door? Can you talk me down the leg? Wow. This is real conversation, women. This is real conversation. Listen, I'm going to the embassy. That's where you're going to find me, right?
Not the embassy.
I'm just saying, because they have free drinks between 5 and 7 p.m. So it is real. Okay, I'm going to the embassy. So, I'm intentional about choosing where I'm going, right? And they have free breakfast. The omelets are the bomb. Okay. So I'm just saying that I am intentional about the women who I choose to be a part of my circle, because I need you to be about my development. Also, the women in my circle will tell me, now you need to sit your little short yellow tail down. You in that mouth, just sit down somewhere. Just sit. Let me check you. Let me check you in love, right? And so you can't find women to be a part of your tribe to co-sign on all your foolishness. They also need to be developing your greatness. They're your cheerleaders. They're going to show up for you. They pray for you. They talk about what's the next thing for you. They talk about your preparedness. It is not easy being a Black woman in public office, for no Black woman in the country. It is not. And so very early, I learned my voice. When I took that oath to serve 23,000 students and their families and teachers and staff, I was intentional about making a promise that I was going to be the best leader that I could be to serve the people that I serve. But I was not going to play with that, that I'm not always going to give them the things that feel good, that I would be honest, transparent, and supportive. And that doesn't look like giving a yes to everything that somebody wants, particularly another sister. Well, you didn't agree with me, so now I don't like you. Well, you let me know when you don't want to be in sixth grade anymore as a grown woman. Because life decisions is about democratic processes, okay?
Let me know you don't want to be in sixth grade anymore.
You don't want to be in sixth grade anymore. You let me know.
Oh, wow.
And then we can have a whole grown woman conversation, okay? Because you can't take personal disagreements into what you don't like me or support me. No, I just think differently on this matter, right? And so often when Black women are in disagreements about how things need to progress, we don't know how to come together to talk about those disagreements. And so we are perpetrating the false narrative. We're actually making that false narrative true, that we don't know how to work together.
Right.
And that is really farthest from the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I think about Harriet Tubman, who didn't just choose Black men to freedom. She also picked up Black women. And so she had all of those individuals in her mind. And so when we can have a Harriet Tubman attitude about supporting, come on now, I'm going to bring you out of this, you know, but also I'm going to show up for you. I'm going to support you. I'm going to be there for you. I got your back.
Mm-hmm.
And also these are things that we need to rectify and correct so you can be better. That's my tribe. That's my tribe. My tribe can't be you have me one day and then you drop me the next day. That's not a tribe. That's called, wait a minute, hold on, fake people.
Well,
and so you gotta have people in your life that are gonna show up for you. And then hold on, wait a minute. Speak my name when I'm not in the room.
Oh.
Protect my integrity when I'm not in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Protect me when I'm not in the space. That's my tribe.
Mm.
Every Black woman needs one.
Wow. Wow. Well, now that we know about your tribe, and every one of us need to get a tribe like that and to have a tribe like that. And BWEL is becoming that kind of tribe for us, for so many women who are starting to come alongside and join this movement, for lack of a better term. And it's really encouraging to be a part of, from the leadership side of it, but it's more of a partnership, than anything, I feel like. And so many things that you said resonated with me in terms of, my tribe, whether the tribe in BWEL, but also tribes that I have outside. And I say tribes because I feel I have pockets of folks, in different areas and different places who do the things that you said. And without that, I definitely don't feel like I would be where I am now.
And that's key,
going
right?
wherever I'm going.
You said pockets. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You said pockets, right?
Yeah.
So you got a pocket of a tribe over here, a pocket of a tribe over here. And so I have a spiritual tribe, right? That, and then I have that tribe where I may need some Tupac and Jay-Z. Let's get it. Let's get it. Because I'm ready.
She
I'm
ready.
about to go. Let the shoulders off because I'm about to go in. I'm about to go in. And then I have that tribe that's like, okay, well, we don't have any bail money for you this week. So I think we should be thought partners and know how we're going to resolve this issue, right? But sometimes,
it's so true. It's so true.
sometimes I go to my Jay-Z tribe. I'm like, let's get it, girls. Let's get it. And so you need pockets of tribe. I love that. Love that, Trelane. Pockets of tribe. That is really awesome.
So, Dr. Shonda, our next question is, as educators, I've always told folks that, the moment where I feel like I don't want to learn, that's the moment where I need to get out of this industry. So how do you stay a learner in your work?
Professional development is key for me. Not only in my work as a public official, but also my work in the work that I do every day that pays my mortgage, right, and buys and purchases my Starbucks every now and then. So professional development is critically important for the growth of any leader, and it's effective professional development. And PD doesn't look the same for everybody. So I'm intentional about a lot of things, and PD is especially one of them. I think about the needs for me with the role that I am in, and how can I be better and be informed about the changes that's impacting our children, particularly our Black and Brown children, and also our other races that are in high poverty, right? And so often we have these conversations about Black and Brown children who lack, but then we also have to bring to the conversation our white children who lack. And so we can't forget the masses. We can't forget all of the children. That's why I always tell my team, my support team, we're here for all children, right? Regardless what the ratio is, we're here for all children. And so when I look at courses and professional development, sometimes I say, oh my gosh, one more thing. However, that one more thing is developing me into something greater. So because I think about this, it's just not for me. I have mentees, right? And so the information that I know, ladies, I can't keep to myself. And so I want to be able to share it. And I am purposeful about sending my support staff to PD, professional development, and then come back so they can train the trainees, right? So you're not going to keep this work in your own Rolodex, in your portfolio. It's a part of your portfolio, but also you would be able to add, I was a trainer. I came back and I provided training. And so it's the little things, right? When I become the only woman or the only person in the room that have all the answers, it's time for me to go home.
That's good.
And you have to be honest about that. I can't be the smartest person in the room. I don't want to be. I want to be the person in the room that develops her strengths and gifts. That's me. I want to be, okay, so how do you know that? Where did you get that from? Right? And so that's me. I want to be able, to do that, because people attach themselves to you, not because of what you know, for real. They attach themselves to you because you have the inspiration to grow. And when they see the fire in you wanting to do more and better, then they're like, I want to be a part of that. And when we stop doing that for each other as Black women, then it has to be another planet for us or that person. Because I'm serious. It's like, okay, it's cosmic now, different person. But listen, I've experienced that in my time as a Black woman in leadership, where, I want to attach myself to these other great Black women because I think they're powerful. I think they're great. I want to learn from them. And then you're catty. You don't want to share. You're not a shareable person, right? And, it's like, go get your own. Okay, all right. Well, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get my own, and I'm going to develop other Black women while I go. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you're giving me the fire to not only go develop myself, but I'm going to take some other sisters with me. Because what we are going to come back and do is take over the world for real.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do. That's the plan. And actually, we're in it right now, right? We're doing it right now.
Yes.
However, what stops us is that behavior of a lack of trust of each other, the envy, the jealousy, the not speaking, right, Doc? Walking past another Black woman, not speaking, and just every single one of us have a testimony because we have been through a test as a Black woman in leadership, right? And so when people ask me, why are you so excited? Why are you so happy? Because you don't know what I've been through. Mm-hmm. It hurt me for that brother to say to me on the phone, we thought you were too attractive for this. That really hurt me.
Yeah.
And I felt some type of way for a little while. But if I was broken, he could have taken my self-esteem that day. Right? Mm-hmm. And so, but he didn't. I got myself together. And you know what I started saying? No, he just mad because he can't have me. That's why. Oh.
And then there is one way to think about it.
Yes.
Like, I had to pump myself that Jay-Z had to come out. Okay. I had to get my Tupac with me. Right. That really could have destroyed me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That could have destroyed. To have someone that comfortable to say that to you, that could have hurt me and destroyed me.
Yeah.
But, and our sisters, we have so many hidden stories and we suffer in silence. So if we support each other and we're sharing these stories, this is why BWEL is so important for us, is that we are aspiring and encouraging and empowering our sisters who walk it, because we know their stories. They're lived stories from many of our members. Mm-hmm. And we want them to be in a safe space to share those stories so we won't lose another one to depression. Mm-hmm. We won't lose another one to suicide.
Yes.
And so that work, I can't speak for Trelane, but that work for me is so important that even though we are vulnerable in sharing our lived experiences, those stories are important. So another Black woman can say, if she made it through that,
right?
How did she make it through? Because I want that support.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that leads right into our less sort of final big question is just, we're out here. There are Black women who are leading in education. We're out here, but we also know that there are not enough of us. So what is one piece of advice you might give to a Black woman who is even considering becoming a leader in education?
Find someone that you trust to share that with the desires of your heart. Pray first, because everyone that looks like you, and it's unfortunate that I'm going to say this, is not for you. Yeah. Okay. And so you have to be led by a discerning spirit to know the person that you can share that with. And then also recognize that the people that are dropped into your life may just be for a season and a reason. And so the transition based on what your needs are, and you're always going to have needs as a leader, right? God is going to continue to transition you and bring people to you to develop you. And so tidbit one, would be to find someone that you trust. 2 would be to continue to develop a relationship with that person that you trust. So once you drop, I'm interested in being in this leadership position, then you have to also work the faith. So that if that means going to obtain additional credits, a degree, I don't know, certifications, showing up, picking up extra duties. Listen, do what you must do to move into leadership positions because it starts from somewhere, right? Not many Black women can go from a teaching position to the C-suite. We can't do that, particularly without a doctorate, right? So we're always going to have to be in preparation for greatness and the better because we aspire to be better, but that trust and building those relationships to those who are listening is critically important.
So what inspired you to join an organization like BWEL?
Well, truth be told, I didn't have a choice because our founder bullied me into it.
I love this.
Yes.
I was bullied. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it. I
can't wait till she hears this.
I was bullied. And she laughs because it's true. You know, she's like 5'1" and bullying people in a good way. And so I joined BWEL because during the pandemic was pandemicking across the country. And our founder was working in a predominantly white school division as the only Black female leader in the entire school division. And they, formed a group. They actually formed a group chat, and they did not include her in the group. And I said, what do you mean? You're you work, like what? And so I said, you know what? Okay, add yourself find a way to add yourself, right? And so long story short, we're talking through, we're talking with some of other sisters in leadership, and we had similar stories during the pandemic. And I said, she said that we need a space for us. And I said, we do, because there's no space for us right now. We need a space. And the next thing you know, here comes BWEL. And she said, I don't even know what to do. I said, let the Lord order your steps. Be still, as my grandmother used to say. Be still, child. And he will speak to you. And he spoke to her. And out of her pain, because BWEL really was formed out of pain. It was her pain. And it was also pain of other Black women who were going through similar experiences as her. So she took her tears and her hurt, and she thought about other Black women other than herself. She thought about us. And Black women education leaders were formed. And with her stern voice, you're going to do this with me. Well, I don't have a choice if that's what you're saying. And I mean, it would be nice if you said, will you? Let's try that, please. Let's try that. No, but it was an honor to be a part of the conversation and to be a part of the work, and starting as the first governance chair for the national organization, because policy is what I do. And I said, everything, I remember telling her, Trees, everything that you form, you make sure it's policy driven. Why are you doing it? What policy do you want to change? What is the piece of legislation that is hanging over Black women that needs to be different? I want you to always think about that. And she said, oh, you can be the governance chair. I said, I ain't say all that to do that. I'm just saying this is what we need to do. And so she poured out strengths of mind, and iron sharpens iron. And so it is an honor for me to serve as the current executive director. And Trelane and I work, it's like night and day for us, because where she is calm, I'm the storm. And where I'm the calm, she's the storm. And we're able to lead in such unison that I don't need to be the number one. See, we don't trip over titles.
Mm-hmm.
We fight for each other's love because we got to survive, right? And when I know that she's had a rough week and I can read it in the text, I go right to prayer. Because it's not easy being a Black woman principal. It's not being a Black female superintendent. It's not easy being a Black female in any leadership position. So BWEL provides that support across the country for us, that first we got to know that we are appreciated and supported in a safe space. And that's what BWEL does it for me. Because my dissertation was about this in 2020. Go figure. During the pandemic, I'm finishing a dissertation about the perceptions of Black women in educational leadership. And at the same time, I'm writing and coding and theming, BWEL was being born. That is not by happenstance. That was an ordained assignment that we needed to stay on. And so it is critically important for the world to know that the narratives that you have continued to write for Black women are no longer, because we are in positions that we are going to use our own voice to write our own narratives. And then also, Black women, if you cannot stop and think about the hurt and pain that you pour into another Black woman, then you will never go farther. Because sometimes we contribute to that. And that's another podcast. We contribute to the pain and suffering of Black women.
Yeah.
And we do that because the conflict within ourselves. And Trelane would say, BWEL, we talk about that. We address that. And we have to if we're going to survive. So BWEL does it for me.
Awesome. Well, we are we are at the close of this, unfortunately, because we could go and we could go and we could go. But we at the end of each of our episodes, we like to do this sort of rapid fire questions. So we want you to say the first thing that comes to your mind and kind of get folks to know a little bit more about Dr. Shonda. So are you ready for rapid fire?
I'm ready.
All right. Favorite comfort food?
Popcorn and Canada Dry.
Favorite go-to activity for self-care?
Are children watching this episode?
They might. But
watching Golden Girls with my remote.
That's a nice little comeback. I love it. Favorite activity you do for fun?
Bowling.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite place to vacation?
Switzerland now.
I think you told us a little bit earlier, but your song that gets you amped up for the day.
Listen, brush the shoulders off. Come on now.
I love
it.
Your favorite educational leadership book or leadership book?
Oh, wow. Dare to Lead by Brené Brown.
Mm-hmm. I like that one.
Good stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Book that you're reading for pleasure right now?
I am reading for pleasure my daily scriptures, to be very honest.
Awesome. And any podcast recommendations?
I think the next podcast recommendation should be about what does supporting Black women look like?
What does it look like?
How do we unpack that?
Fantastic.
Or how do men support Black women in leadership?
I like it.
We need to hear from the brothers.
Well, we've learned a lot with you here today. I'm sure anyone that's listening to this episode, it will have a lot of jewels to take back with them. I know I do a lot. Like I'm going to go back and push replay just to recapture some of the moments. And so thank you so much for joining us today on this episode. It was amazing. And so we just want to tell everyone, thank you for listening to Lead Girl, the BWEL podcast, where we amplify the voices of Black women in educational leadership. BWEL is a nonprofit organization open for membership for you to serve and be served. So if you are a Black woman in educational leadership, we are looking for you. You can become a member or support us by visiting blackwomeneducationleaders.com and follow us on social media on Twitter, X, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Tune in for upcoming episodes on a variety of topics that are sure to be relevant to your personal growth and professional practice. We invite and encourage you to give us feedback or request to join our show. Email us at bwellpodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us on social media at leaders_Black. See you next time. Until then,
be well.
Be well. And lead,
girl.
Lead, girl.
You better lead.
You better lead.
Lead, child, lead.